Pakistan's foreign ministry says its air force has hit targets in Iran's province of Sistan and Baluchistan. Iranian state media is reporting that 7 people have been killed. Iran's foreign ministry says that, and Iran carried out an attack on Tuesday which killed 2 children in Pakistan's Baluchistan province. Now, Tehran says it was targeting an armed group fighting for the rights of the Sunni minority inside Iran. Islamabad has long alleged that those separatist groups are launching attacks on Pakistan from inside Iran. Well, Pakistan's foreign ministry spokesperson says Pakistan carried out the airstrikes to defend its sovereignty.
This morning's action was taken in light of credible intelligence of impending large-scale terrorist activities against Pakistan by these terrorists. This action is a manifestation of Pakistan's unflinching resolve to protect and defend its national security against all threats. The successful execution of this highly complex operation is also a testimony to the professionalism of the armed forces of Pakistan. Pakistan will continue to take all necessary steps to preserve the safety and security of its people, which is sacrosanct, inviolable, and sacred.
Let's cross over to our Pakistan correspondent Kamal Hyder, who joins us now from the city of Sukkur in the southern province of Sindh in Pakistan. Kamal, when we spoke 24 hours ago, we didn't expect the situation to escalate in this fashion.
Absolutely, and that escalation, of course, taking place after Pakistan decided to respond to the Iranian attack inside Pakistani territory. It must be understood that Baluchestan encompasses 42% of the landmass, straddles the Arabian Sea with a strategic port in Gwadar, very close to the Straits of Hormuz. Gwadar was built by the Chinese. Now, the targets that have been hit in the early morning attack included what Pakistan says were Baloch Liberation Army camps. Now, those fighters have been attacking Pakistani security forces, civilians, and even Chinese workers and Chinese officials in the province of Baluchestan. Extremely strategic area, but one has to understand the broader dimension of this. On the Iranian side, Greater Baluchistan is known as Sistan province. Now, what the Iranians were saying is that the Jaish al-Adl, which is a group which was responsible for killing at least a dozen Iranian policemen, was the intended target, that not a single Pakistani was killed. The Pakistanis also very carefully saying that they did not target any Iranian citizens in their brotherly country. The Pakistani military stressing that its aircraft did not violate Iranian airspace, but were able to fire standoff precision-guided munitions at those targets. Multiple targets were hit. Now, Baluchistan, as I mentioned earlier, extremely important because China has built a huge port at Gwadar. This is a part of the China Belt and Road Initiative, also known as the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor. It is of vital importance because of that link and the fact that for decades the Pakistani military has been fighting Baloch fighters who have been attacking military positions inside Pakistan. So Pakistan sending a clear message, but at the same time, it is ironic that both navies were recently holding maneuvers in the northern part of the Straits of Hormuz. Both sides met in Davos, where the Pakistani Prime Minister, of course, has now called off his visit, and they were discussing the threat emanating from armed groups inside Afghanistan, which was of mutual concern. Pakistan raised the issue with the Iranians about the Baloch Liberation Army camps operating on their side. The Iranians must have also told Pakistan that Jaish al-Adl was operating from Pakistani soil. So both sides are hitting these particular targets, but not targeting each other's militaries. And that, of course, would be a significant escalation if that was to happen. But at the moment, a measured response from both sides, and both sides stressing that none of the Pakistani or Iranian citizens were killed in this particular attack carried out by the Pakistani airspace. The aircraft did not cross into Iranian airspace. They were able to fire those munitions across the border. and hit those targets. Suhail?
Thanks, Kamal. Of course, we'll continue to follow this story with you from Sukkur as the hours progress, and we'll catch up with you later in the day as well. But let's cross over now to Mohammad Marandi, who's professor at the University of Tehran. He joins us now from the Iranian capital. Mr. Marandi, good to have you with us for your analysis. 24 hours ago, we saw we heard what Iran did in terms of its attacks into Pakistan. China asked for restraint from Pakistan. That hasn't happened. So I'm wondering what your assessment is of how Iran may react now.
Well, the story is that after the war in Gaza and when things began to go downhill for the Israeli regime, they started activating terrorist organizations, both in Iraqi Kurdistan and in the sort of no man's land in Pakistani Baluchistan. The Pakistani government has problems with that area and in controlling that area. And right now, there are large numbers of Pakistanis who are in Iran because of the economic situation, so near the border with Pakistan. So the Iranians discovered that a major operation, a major attack, terrorist attack, was about to occur. And we've had an increase in terrorist attacks, as you know, from that area in Pakistan, inside Iran, where we had lots of casualties. So the Iranians felt that they had to strike immediately because something bad was expected to happen. Now, obviously, the Iranians didn't want to do this because they have excellent relations with Pakistan, and the economic relationship is to expand. The president has a special focus on that. But there is a big problem on the border as we speak, and it is being manipulated by the Israelis.
But you say that we don't have any proof of that to a certain extent because no proof has been provided. If you look at it from a cultural point of view, you have the Baluchistan side of Pakistan and individuals there who've always felt that they've never been looked after by Islamabad properly and never been part of Pakistan since Baluchistan was bought from Oman back in the late 50s. Then you've got your side, the Iranian side, the Baloch population there, who some are Sunni, some are Shiite, I believe. Is this more a cultural problem with the respective capitals about who Baloch people are and what rights they want?
Well, I really can't comment on the Pakistani Baluchistan issue because I'm not an expert on that, and I think there are a lot of people in Pakistan.
But you've just commented on groups in Pakistan that have been activated by Israel. So you have commented on it.
No,
sir.
there are two things. Yes, there are two things I commented on. One is that area is not well controlled by the Pakistani government, and the Pakistani government has a problem. There are a host of reasons. It's economic. Their focus is on the border with India. There's also Afghanistan. They have big problems with Afghanistan, just as we do. So, but there's a huge economic problem in Baluchistan, Pakistan. Now, whether they feel neglected by the central government, that's something that really an expert can speak on. But many are in Iran because of the very difficult economic situation in Pakistan. Well, in Iran, the situation is significantly different, even though it's very tough for them in Iran because they're not Iranian citizens and they're alongside the border. Mm-hmm. But the second issue is that because there's this no man's land on the Pakistani side of the border, more or less, that these groups have been able to station themselves there. And the Iranians had to strike. Let me just add something. It's sort of like in Kurdistan, Iraq. The Iraqi central government doesn't have the sort of control that it should have. And Erbil is unfortunately under a lot of influence. Of course, this is a bit different but in the sense that Erbil is under direct influence. And we have bases for terrorist organizations alongside the border, which is well documented. Documentaries have been made where people go and visit those terrorist bases. So in Pakistan, it's not that the government wants them to be there. It's the fact that they don't have full control. In Erbil, it's, how should I put it, more nuanced.
OK, we'll see what does happen and hope that that escalation doesn't get any more pronounced in the coming hours. For the moment, Mohammad Marandi. We'll have to leave it there. Thank you very much.